Greetings, everyone. I am your hostess, Joan of Angels. You are here live with me on 420 Spiritual Living. You are here in the sanctuary where we not only step into the expanded consciousness of plant medicine, but we teach you about it and we share our experiences with you. And I've been teaching about cannabis for the past few years, ever since I discovered the healing miracles, the body, mind, and spirit alignment, and even more important, the ability to open up your consciousness and have a closer communication with God, with spirit, and with what you're here to do. So welcome. I am Joan of Angels, and I have been working with these plants for quite a long time. And if you are new to my channel, if you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe and share. It's very, very important so that we can get these messages out. Okay, so meanwhile, we're going to start by imagining right now that we are all together in that 420 camaraderie where we all come together, and 420 is that time where students used to meet their friends. Hey, I'll meet you at 420 and we'll smoke a joint. Well, nowadays people come together in a more conscious way, thinking that they can start to not only socialize, heal their body, but also come together in a more little spiritual way. So before we begin, I'm going to show you my ceremonial pipe. I take it with me to every ceremony, but I don't use it for smoking. I just think it's so beautiful and so symbolic of the art of sort of a different specialness. So a lot of my tools that I use are special to me. I'm also going to introduce you to the co-host. Co-host Avon, he is an extraterrestrial being from the planet Zeta. He gives us messages, and they say that the consciousness of plant medicine comes from the extraterrestrials who wanted to lift our spirits, wanted to literally raise the consciousness of planet Earth from a warlike being to spiritually evolved, to balance, peace, and harmony. And they gave us that plant medicine so that we can do that. And we will be talking with our guest in a little bit about this war on consciousness and why in the heck they ever took all that plant medicine away from the people. So good. We got all the basics out of the way. And I want everyone now to just take a deep breath in with me. And let it all out. And yes, you can take that deep breath with your cannabis. Absolutely. So take another deep breath. And let it all out. And just imagine right now we're sending our roots down to the center of the earth. That's right, sending it down through the crust and through the water, through the oil, through the minerals, until it gets all the way down to the center of the earth. And as we do that, we center ourselves. And so it is. Dearest angels and guides and spirit guides of cannabis, we ask that you're with us today, that each and every person here on the show has an experience of enlightenment, of healing, of positiveness, of a new way of being, leaving with one thought even that's new, something that you didn't know before. And so we ask for a general healing, upliftment, and awareness.
and that we all have an experience with the spirit guides of cannabis. So it is. Good. And so we're going to just do a little overview, a little reading of the temperature, because again, consciousness has to do with the different ways that we receive information. And one of the ways I receive information is through using cards. And so these cards happen to be my favorite deck. They are the Earth Warrior deck, and they're actually used in sacred ceremony. So this is an indigenous deck, the soul tribe, the sacred guardians, and these are the sacred guardians of the plant medicine too. Sacred gods and guides of humanity. Oh, my goodness. Okay, so this card I frequently pull on the show. And, there's 44 cards in the deck, so the odds that I'd pull the same card for half the show is a surprise. And so this is the Pachamama card, Pachakarma, and it is all about nourishment of the soul. So when I speak of 420 spiritual living, I'm really talking about all the different ways that you nurture your soul, that you bring peace, harmony, love, abundance, prosperity to yourself and to those around you. And plant medicine is a way to nurture your body, mind, and spirit. And so this card I find very fascinating. It's 32, so it's all about freedom of the soul as well. I'm going to give you a little insight as to what it says. These are very deep and complicated cards, just so you know. You are granted the gift of fertility, of creativity, and earthly abundance to support all your needs. So when you work with these plant medicines, whether it be cannabis, mushrooms, ayahuasca, or heart medicine, or peyote, they are all designed and have an ability to help enhance your creativity, enhance your fertility, and fertility is like creativity also, and your abundance to support all your needs. So waking up your consciousness, allowing in these plants can bring you a sense of loving yourself, caring for yourself more, and a sense of abundance and prosperity. And it can also bring in wisdom. Like I tell you that my little guide here has lots to tell us. So those are the benefits of cannabis. And so today, pay attention to your creativity, your fertility, and your ability to just kind of resonate with what you're hearing and opening up to new possibilities and potential, your potential, maybe answers to what you're here to do. Okay? So, good. Thank you. I'm so happy to be here with all of you. I get very, very excited. So now I want to take the time and opportunity to introduce a dear friend of mine. She's what I call a miracle ally. And when I speak of miracle allies, I am talking about people that help you step into your dreams, step into your visions, that believe in you, sometimes even more than you believe in yourself. Miracle allies are those people who, when you have an idea, they say, oh my God, Joan, that's amazing. And then maybe even helps you. Now, I call it brainstorming. She calls it heartstorming, but even help you heartstorm your way to grow your dreams even bigger. So I'm hoping Victoria Reynolds becomes a friend of yours too. She grew up in a doomsday cult. She escaped as a teenager, and now she teaches people how to free themselves from fear-based belief and create the life they love. So I actually want you to all imagine you're clapping your hands as I bring her in from the great audience beyond, and you're about to meet a really dear friend of mine. Oh yeah, we didn't even test her in the seat. We're going to move her over. So she is in the screen. Come on. Sweet, sweet, sweet. Well, hello, Victoria Reynolds. And it's so fun to have someone that doesn't have that Zoom or, screen between us. So you're live here in the sanctuary, right?
Yes, and it's so much fun. It's so much more fun than sitting each of us in our little lonely home studios.
Right. So I introduced you as my miracle ally. And you're really on the show as a Miracle Ally, but I kind of think we do it for each other.
Yes.
And so I want to start with this question for you, okay? When I read your intro, your bio, you grew up in a cult, right?
Mm-hmm.
So from the cult's point of view, what did you know about plant medicine or cannabis? Did you even know about it when you were younger?
You know what? So I knew about plant medicine way before it was a thing. I used to call it the naturopath extremists. So the people in my community were so into natural, that they were anti-doctors, they were anti-medicine, and they were vax, obviously, but when we were kids, they were like 2.
Okay, anti-vax.
But as far as the weed, I knew nothing about.
They weren't anti-sex either. How many brothers and sisters did you have?
Oh, my mom had 12 kids, and my other mom, if you will, had 4 kids.
Got it. So you grew up in a household of many children, but it was anti almost everything that people traditionally have.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you left home, you were 17, is that right? So it's a big world out there. Like, how did you come across cannabis then? Or other plants?
When I was in college.
Okay, so you left.
It was the 1980s.
Okay, so you ran away from home and you somehow put yourself through college.
Well, no.
No.
Put myself in college.
You put yourself in college. Okay.
It doesn't necessarily mean that I
Okay.
out the way most people do.
All right, I get it. So you put yourself in college and you're just recently escaped a cult, and now there's plant medicine. What happened?
Well, it wasn't called plant medicine.
No, it wasn't. What was it called in those days?
It was called getting high.
Okay.
You know.
Oh God. Okay. Yes, it was called getting high.
Yeah. And all it did was make me fall asleep. So I didn't get the whole point. So I only did it maybe 3 or 4 times in my 20s.
Okay. So were you introduced to other medicines? Any psychedelics or?
Yeah, at the same
like
time. But I chose not to take any of them because I was so afraid of having a bad trip. I was more afraid of the bad trip than the experience.
But so being in the cult didn't prevent you from experimenting once you got out of this situation, right?
Well, and actually, one of the reasons I left is because I'm a free spirit and I didn't obey the rules very well. And actually, at the time, I was suicidal. I was either going to kill myself or figure out how to get out because I just could not live that life.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I was more adventurous than other people. You know, some of the people I grew up with are still there, and that's their life, and they're perfectly happy.
Right.
It was not going to work for me. So
got it. Okay, and I love that. And you even have a group now. You have your show. It's called Fearless and Free, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you talk about
being fearless and free. And some of my subject matter is a little edgy.
She is very edgy. She's very edgy. But you know what? That's okay. We're living in edgy times. And being fearless and free, I talk about the plant medicine a lot because I feel very disturbed that cannabis and all those other plants are illegal. So I didn't actually know all the benefits of the hallucinogens and the psychedelics until the last few years. I did know about LSD. I did do a few LSD trips when I was younger, but I don't even remember them except that the wall moved and the floor moved. And so did my boyfriend. He ultimately had to move out, I think. That's what happened with that. But I didn't.
Too much movement going on.
Right. There was a lot of movement with that. Okay, with acid, it was. Everything moved. But I was in college too. And it was just something I did. But now I'm finding out that they're using acid, they're using mushrooms, they're using cannabis to heal addictions.
That sounds like an oxymoron.
Well, I could get why you might say that. All right. But because people that you're assuming when you say oxymoron, what do you mean? You mean that cannabis is an addiction already, an addictive drug?
So it's like
paradigm.
Right? One drug for another drug.
Okay, which they use in detoxing people from heroin. I worked in the detox for years and years and years. We used methadone, which is a drug.
Right.
Didn't make people feel good to take them off of heroin. So this concept of using plant medicine to heal people's addictions or heal people's trauma or their stress, acute anxiety and stress and depression, must tell you that it's been known to heal depression. But we're talking about using it more in a therapeutic situation. They're using the psychedelics, the mushrooms, and ketamine. They're using all sorts of these plant medicines, but in a more therapeutic situation. So you're not just getting stoned and out of it. You're getting treatment. You're getting therapy. But when I started in ceremony, there were 3 people who came who had been in recovery. They had been in AA, and they were still feeling like they were dysfunctional. They needed help, and they came to our plant medicine ceremony. And their biggest fear was that they would go back to being an addict. Like, for an addict, this is huge. Yeah. For an alcoholic, it's huge to go to a plant medicine ceremony if you're really serious about being clean and sober. Mm-hmm. But the friends that I had that had been in recovery never went back to abusing alcohol or drugs because it's being used in a situation. Oh, and the other thing is that now you get to see the perspective of your whole life. Okay, you get to see why you came down, the big picture, what your family, all those lessons you had, my dysfunctional family, you're living in a cult, but you get to see from over here that perspective. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah. It's almost like an out-of-body experience.
Yes, right? But you can also heal your heart. So remember, when we have addictions or we're going through stress, we're out of balance in our body. Our hearts are broken. Literally, we can barely function on the planet because we don't feel good about ourselves. Self-esteem low, few skills and competencies. What if you could work with a plant medicine that helps you understand yourself, have love and compassion for yourself, and helps you kind of see almost like the entry point. If you're knitting and you have a sweater and it's all those threads, okay? But if you could see the entry point to your pain, and if suddenly you can have compassion for your mother and your father and your sisters and your brothers, and you understood why they're all in this church and religion and kind of the dynamics, which you really can get to see, you would then have more compassion also for yourself. You would understand how your pain put you in there. And then you find the things that bring you joy. Once you replace the pain with joy, and you find, we're talking about true freedom. What is true freedom to you?
Well, it's going to be different for every person, but for me, it's the freedom to be myself.
Right.
Yeah.
And so plant medicine and those heavy-duty psychedelics have an ability with support. Okay, I'm not telling you to go out and do this by yourself. I'm saying
it's no fun to do it by yourself anyway.
Okay, right. Okay, it's no fun to do it really by yourself, except I will say this. It's only been recently that people are moving from recreational to medicinal or purposeful or consciousness driven, spiritual driven. Now people are doing yoga and weed. Bet you didn't even know that.
I didn't know that.
Oh my God, I should come out to Huntington.
More limber.
I think they're doing it out where you are. And I think we ought to go and interview them and do it there. No, yoga and weed, exercise and weed, painting and weed. Painting and marijuana because it frees your consciousness.
But I'll have to do another field trip out here. You and I.
Okay. Yeah.
And paint and do weed.
I need to tell you about our day to day. So we're talking about how Victoria has not smoked for many, many years. And here she is in the heart of Cannabis Valley. Okay. The Coachella Valley is one of the largest booming cannabis industries in the country. And actually, it could be not just in the country, but even in the world. We are a huge booming business. And of course, I am a cannabis advocate and a cannabis consumer using it intentionally. So Victoria came and I said to her today, she said, I want to have fun. And you tell them what happened.
Oh, well, that was kind of the theme that came in first thing this morning is fun. And so what's funny is that it has come up a couple of times today, not just with you, but on my Facebook feed talking about fun is the girl inside of you having fun. And so I said, yeah, I want to go do something fun today. And so Joan said, do you want to go to what are they called?
A consumption lounge. Consumption lounge, okay? A place where people come together and you can smoke or do your cannabis thing. It's all pure cannabis, right?
Yeah.
So what did you think?
Well, okay. So there was a phase about 20 years ago when people were going to cigar bars. So I don't know if you know that.
I passed a cigar. They have a cigar bar in downtown Palm Springs. And I did look in when I was parking my car, but I did not go because cigar smoke.
Yes. Anyway, that was the in thing about 20 years ago.
Uh-huh.
And then all these places turned into hookah lounges, right? So I'm like, okay, this is the next in thing. And so I did have some preconceived ideas. So
you thought it was a hookah lounge.
Well, yeah, kind of expecting that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And not having any idea what to expect. And then I'm expecting like, oh my gosh, I'm getting a visual of the Naturalist Club in Zootopia.
What?
It says somebody's got to be a mom with kids. So it's like I'm expecting like either a hippie thing or maybe a medical place for people in clinical suits and
clinical suits, space suits.
Yeah, I don't know what to think. I'm like,
gloves,
or it's going to be all like druggy hippies or something, except for Cool Joan. But so I didn't know what to expect.
I didn't even think about this when I took her. Just so you know.
Yeah, you're just going to take me. And then you were describing half a dozen different places and which one do you go to. And so driving around Palm Springs, Coachella Valley, they're everywhere. Dispensaries.
All right, what did your kids say to you when they saw the signs?
They go, Mom. Oh no! They said, Mom, why are there so many cannabis places? And I said, because they can. There was like driving up the coast.
Because they can.
Because they can. There were so many. Like at every gas station, every stop, there was somebody selling cannabis.
Wait, out of their truck, or is it just
like a little? Sometimes they said there were storefronts, but it's like grocery store / cannabis.
Okay, well, I'm not sure that's legal. Just so you know.
No, I'm saying, but it's like that. That's about the size of the stop.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Yes. Well, here in my little town of Desert Hot Springs, I think we have something like 35 dispensaries, and Coachella Valley is packed. But it is our new industry because growing cannabis out here works really well. We have tons of land. And it is a boom. It is booming our economy and turning it into a year-round place. So, okay. So now you're expecting a sleaze bar. I'm a little insulted.
No, not like a sleaze bar, but kind of like more earthy or something.
Right. Okay. Right? Yeah. And it didn't even smell, did it?
No, it was like not a nightclub, but it was very loungy, very classy, very clean. And so there were, when we walked in, I was really surprised to see who the other customers were. Cause I was expecting, I don't know, not who the other customers were. They were two middle-aged, very nice looking, well-dressed men.
Ooh, I don't know how I missed them.
I don't know how you missed them. You're busy looking in the glass.
Well, no, I was interested in how they were treating you. Okay, the bud tenders. I wanted them to take good care of you, and I don't know.
Yeah, so I just noticed
guys.
because, okay, I'm newly single.
Oh God!
but that's really not why. I just happened to notice.
Okay,
and they got a kick in the fact that you told them that I was a virgin.
Oh yeah, I walked in and I told everyone she was a virgin. because she hadn't smoked and she had never been in the cannabis industry, into a consumption lounge, or even a dispensary. And so that is my cute and funny side. So the guys were good looking and well dressed, and apparently had money. They were not hippies.
They were not hippies. They were,
So you already had a new experience, because it's a very classy place. It was a former bank, and it's a bank vault where people used to keep all their money, right? That's what you do now. They keep all their cannabis there. So it was sophisticated. What else did you think about it?
It was and very comfortable. It's big, comfortable couches, and so it's not kind of like the opposite atmosphere of a nightclub. If you go in and it's quiet and it's classy, and you can sit and just enjoy each other's company without having to scream over the loud music.
Right?
Yeah, that was great.
You know what? I stopped there when I leave the desert here, and it's 30 minutes to get to the other side, and I have business. I stop there. I'll have water. I'll sit with my cell phone. I'll take care of business and relax for an hour or two before I go on to my next thing.
Yeah, it's like the new the new Starbucks.
It's the new Starbucks, and this is what cannabis tourism is all about, guys. Buses where they can smoke cannabis, hotels that you can get cannabis in the gift shop and smoke on the premises. I swear to God, this is like a new paradigm. Meals, they have dinner parties where they serve high-end, Barbie on our show a few weeks ago, high-end cannabis dinners, dinners infused in the highest quality of cannabis. You would kind of like this. It's so sophisticated, and you have to have a lot of money just to go to the dinners. So it's just quite tourism. And my friend Celine, who was on a few weeks ago, the Glowing Goddess Getaways, which are quite fun. So now we're in the dispensary. I noticed that they didn't try to they really tried to steer you away from things that would be too intense for you. So what was your experience with that?
Well, yeah, they were great. I told them I'm not totally a virgin, but it's been 30 years, so might as well. And so I had no idea there were so many to choose from. So the other preconceived idea I had was I was going to walk into this shop, and it was going to be the way I bought it in college. Oh, no. Like it's clumps in little Ziploc bags. So
mostly twigs.
Yeah,
seeds.
Yeah, a lot of seeds. Yeah. And
some weed.
Well, I didn't technically buy it. I didn't examine it.
Okay, now we're learning the truth about my miracle ally over here. All right. Okay, so people understand.
So I'm kind of expecting, like, I don't know. Like they're growing it in the back and they're dispensing it in little baggies. That was kind of my idea. Well, I look in the case, and it's this beautiful long glass case, like when you go to the movie theater and there's all the candy to choose from. Oh my gosh, I just got that visual.
It's a good visual.
And then you sit there and you're looking at all the choices, and which one do I want? Which one do I want? I had no idea, and it's packaged beautifully, and they know exactly what's in it and which brand is better for the newbie and which brand is better for someone who's been consuming for a while. And the two people who worked there were incredibly knowledgeable. And apparently there's some that makes you happy and some that makes you sad, tired. So they asked me, what is it that you want to experience? And these are the ones we suggest for what you want to experience.
Okay.
Oh, so I bought some.
Oh God. Okay. Show it.
So I said, I want one that makes me creative. And I want one that makes me silly and happy. So we got two of them. See, they come in really pretty packaging, and apparently this one makes us creative, and this one will make us silly later.
All right. So this one is from my friend Ryland, Smoking Hippie, and I think I did an ad for her. I love this stuff. The electric lemonade is very social. So anything with lemon is so upbeat that you'll be happier than you ever were.
So does it have lemon essential oils in it? Is that
It
what
has
is?
something called limonene, which is, I think, what's in lemon essential oils, which is a happiness factor. So we're having her test. So then, okay, we went in.
We're having me test it.
Listen, she's my experiment. Okay, she's the first virgin I've taken through this. Okay, but that's not true. There's a lot of senior population here in the desert, and more and more senior people, older people, are having their first experience in a cannabis shop. Not all these,
Well, obviously, but were they like hippies when they were?
No. You know what, guys? Most of the people who come out to Desert Hot Springs are not hippies. They are retirees, and now they have aches and pains. They have depression. They have anxiety. They're on opiates. And some kind friend says to them, you ought to try cannabis. In fact, you ought to try. Where's that box that came in the mail today? We are both work with this company because we like it so much. But if you happen to have a friend who's in a lot of pain, you want to use this relief medicine. It's a CBD cream. It's mixed with a few other cooling things in it, and it's so good. You rub it. So I get up, I have knee pain. Like when I got out this morning, I just had this knee pain from cross-legged, and I put it on, and within about 20 seconds, my knees were better. So it's very, very fast acting.
I use it too.
You do?
Well, the last couple of weeks I've been using it on my broken toe and my sprained wrist.
And it's been working. Okay, good. So guys, that is the HempWorks that both of us are distributors for. And we'll both put links down in the shows when you're watching it for where you can get it. But we also are going to be drinking this tomorrow, the hemp-infused coffee.
And it also has some kind of mushroom in it too.
Oh my God, I love the mushrooms. And those are the medicinal mushrooms. Of course, the psychedelic mushrooms are medicinal too. They don't want to tell you that. Okay, but I'm telling you that. Oh, and next week we have on the show someone who's going to really tell us that. Okay, so we'll go through this. So you were going to show. Let's tell everyone, how did you feel when you smoked your first joint in 30 years? We want to get this on recording. Her children will not watch this.
Yeah, they won't watch this.
How did you feel?
Fortunately, they're both very anti-drug, which is nice. Something to
But you're calling this a drug.
Well, no,
this is a plant.
But let me finish. Okay, so, but I like that they're anti-drug. I mean, they really have drilled it into these kids since they were little, anti-drug and anti-alcohol. So if they knew that I was doing this, they would assume it as a drug, and they're going to think mom's lost her mind. So
we're not sending it to your kids.
So the kids
but that's a common thing, and there are parents who think that the same thing, that, oh God, they're going to think I'm insane, I've lost my mind. Just so you know.
Well, it's funny. In my case, it would be the teenagers,
right,
who are telling their parents to stop doing drugs.
You know what? So I'm going to tell you something about this.
That's a paradigm shift.
My sister and I are in Texas, where it's illegal. We're at the senior center with my aunt, and a table full of people in their late 80s and early 90s. And this little old lady is saying to me, well, did you bring some brownies? I said, what do you mean? She said, like cannabis brownies. I guess they call them marijuana, whatever, the medicated marijuana brownies for us. And I said, no. And they were so upset. All the people at the table begged us to bring the edibles the next time, the cookies infused with the cannabis, because their kids would not let them smoke. This woman was 89, and she said she had been begging her son to let her try a joint or marijuana. Obviously, he smoked, even though it's illegal in Texas. And he said, no, you can't do it. No, it's not good for you, Mom. And so that also is restriction, right?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Because your mom's 89 years old. Do not tell her not to do this.
Yep.
It was pretty funny.
That's interesting.
So now we're sitting there smoking, and it was a hybrid, which is half indica, half sativa.
I still don't remember what the words
But
mean.
how did you feel?
Okay. So, it came out of this pretty package. I have to talk about the packaging because
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's not a Ziploc with some rolled up, right? And so it sticks in this really pretty package. We sit down on this really nice couch, and the what do you call it? Well, it's not the cigarette. What is it called?
The joint.
The joint.
Actually, they call it a pre-roll. They don't even say, they call it a pre-roll. Everyone knows when you say pre-roll, you mean pre-roll joint.
Okay.
So you smoked a pre-roll.
Okay. Yeah. And anyway, it didn't look like a joint. Let's put it that way. It's nice and nicely wrapped. I mean, I'm just kind of blown away by how classy
Right.
it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just a piece of paper rolled up joint that you did with your friends.
No, because they also, the industrial pre-rolls have their machine done, and they're fantastic. Like a 1,000 an hour they pre-roll them.
Wow.
Not like me. You do not want to ever smoke anything. I tried pre-rolling. So now you're smoking the joint. One of the things you said is it really didn't make you choke or cough too much.
Right. So, it was pretty mellow. And that's one of the things that the cashier had said is, this one's a good one because it's not as, and something like about being
anxiety.
More mellow. Yeah. And so, I was smoking and it really didn't affect me.
At all?
Well, no. About the coffee. No, but I didn't feel it right away.
Oh, okay, good. So you didn't feel it right away.
Well, I didn't want to do so much that I would feel it too much because I was driving.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right.
But it didn't make me cough on that.
Sorry.
No, that was so bizarre.
I'm just
started coughing as I talk about coughing. But then I took a really a bigger hit than I was getting a little confident that I wasn't coughing. So I took another hit and I did start coughing and we had to get some water.
Okay.
So, but I did definitely feel more calm for sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
so you noticed
a nice
sense
calming
of calm.
sense.
Did you feel more up, down, sideways?
A little bit more up. And I wasn't sleepy this time, which is interesting. A little bit more up. And we did definitely do some laughing.
We did. You were, so would you say you were a little bit more talkative?
I don't know.
I was.
I ask you. I don't know. I'm talking all the time. It's why I'm a broadcaster too.
Well, that is why we're broadcasting. Everything in our lives get broadcasted, even her reaction. But you know what, guys? I'm sharing this because it's the first time for everyone to go into the medical cannabis dispensary. I have a lot of friends who've never been in, so I'm hoping this helps ease. I want to get over the stigma of cannabis for people so that they understand that they are fearless and free and they have a chance to. So my feeling that the reason you've been trained to think that it's not a healing medicine is twofold. They don't want you to have that expanded consciousness because, oh God, you're going to like this. I read this whole thing about the MK Ultra program and that people who have been deprogrammed, the government did not want them to smoke this plant because it broke their programming. And the truth is that I didn't tell her this at all. Yeah. This plant can break the programming that many people have. The government, that's why one of the reasons the government banned it for 50 or 70 years was so that they can kind of squash our consciousness, our questioning. I know you probably didn't even know that aspect.
I didn't.
And, there were a lot of government programs where they actually programmed people, and those people were not allowed near any of this plant medicine.
That's interesting.
Right? I can see it's going through her brain. because that is a little bit of a shock. And of course, the other reason is the what I call the chemical companies. That starts with a PH, and you have to have a prescription for, and all of those prescriptions they cause an effect in your body and a side effect. And there are side effects to every prescription you take. So if you're taking opiates for pain, or even Tylenol or aspirin, that is having a long-term deleterious effect on your liver and your whole body. And cannabis and plant medicine does not have that effect. So in states that have medical cannabis, the use of opiates is going down tremendously.
That's great.
And in states that have cannabis, children are being treated for seizures. There's really no treatment for seizures, and these are very expensive chemical drugs. You know what word to replace that with. So there's two reasons. They did not want your consciousness. This was in the 50s and 60s, where people were starting to, rebel, make love, not war. We don't want to fight these wars anymore. And the government was definitely suppressing the hippies, quote, hippies.
That's interesting. I wonder which came first, the make love, not war, or the weed that made them want to make love, not war?
Well, in the beginning, weed was not okay. So in the 1900s, the United States started to make cannabis illegal, and it did go through a series of laws that withdrew it. But psychedelics, when I went to college at first, were not illegal. They were not illegal at that moment. And cannabis, even though it wasn't quite legal, it wasn't illegal until the 50s and 60s, where they actually came out with new laws that definitely took it off the market. And that was Nixon. And Nixon was known to state that he didn't want the protesters anymore. He didn't want the hippies. And so he said that if we make it illegal, because we know all those hippies are smoking cannabis, we will get them in the prisons and take them off the streets. And so it also was not just targeting the African American population. In those days, it was actually also targeting the hippies, the activists that were protesting the war. So it has been a war on consciousness, and your attitudes, like if you think of that movie, Reefer Madness, or, the film I showed a few weeks ago, these sloths, you're going to be a sloth. You'll be, never make any good. You're going to be an addict. Well, yes, there are drugs that are bad, very bad. When we talk about meth and heroin, they are not plants, though. They are chemicals. We are talking about using plants that can help heal.
Right.
So I find it interesting that there's an expansion with the use of these plants now that are being made legal, but there's still a lot of resistance, and there's still a war on consciousness. So where there's still illegal in states, something that should really not ever have been illegal.
Yeah, and that's what's interesting is that it's only legal in some states and it's not legal federally. So that messes up, okay, so here's an example. The Hempworks company, right?
Oh my God, yes. Show them this.
So this is one of their newest products. This is Delta 8. And you get a pretty good little buzz off it, actually. When you buy it, you have to click saying that, yes, I am 21 years old. Because it could only sell it over the age of 21. And then, so they have to have that. But the issue is that there's only some states that they can send it to. So only the states where it's legal, they can ship it to. The other thing that I thought was really interesting, and that stuff works really well, by the way.
New product.
It's very relaxing.
Hemp works. Getting good quality products. Listen, I want you to know something. There's a lot of crap out there. So do not buy CBD at your local gas station or your supermarket or, at Claire's where you get earrings. They
don't sell it there, do they?
I don't know. It just popped in my head.
Okay.
But they sell it at the gas stations, okay? And they sell it at 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
You do not want to use that because when they've tested those lab testing for it, most of the time they don't even have the CBD in it. And if they do, it's not made with top quality processing and taking out all the chemicals. So you don't want it. You really want it from a reputable company. That's why I'm telling you about that.
Okay. Well, so speaking of quality stuff, so we were talking earlier why this label is so jam packed, and you were telling me about.
We'll show them. Don't show me.
So, I mean, the label is just every drop of this label is filled with information, and apparently, this industry is so regulated beyond alcohol, cigarettes, none of that has to go through the hoops that these companies have to go through. And the feeling I got from that, one, the pharmaceutical company would love to run the industry.
And they're trying. They're patented.
And because it's not federally approved, the tax structure is funky. And just the amount of work that it takes to run one of these shops and to be a grower and a manufacturer, all the hoops they have to go through, and talk about tracking, how every microscopic part of the plant is basically tracked.
What did Dina just said to us that it used to be where her friends who worked in the grows could bring them shake, but now they measure everything, and all legal grow sites like that have cameras, and they're being spied upon by someone. They don't do that for alcohol or tobacco, and alcohol and tobacco are dangerous, right?
Yeah.
When you grow a marijuana plant professionally, apparently every bud gets tracked, has a tag, has a number. It goes out to be weighed, then comes out with this incredible packaging that is certainly not green like the plant. So it's crazy. They don't track tobacco. So there you have it. But I want to get back to the subject. So would you do it again?
Yeah, probably. It was kind of cool to go and just hang out with some friends, and yeah, I would actually personally like that much more than going out with friends to a noisy bar. I don't like the bar scene.
I don't go to bars.
Yeah, I don't either.
And notice there was some cute guys.
And there were some cute guys
in the campus lounge.
It was really quiet in the late morning, so there were only a couple of guys, but probably pretty rocking on a Saturday night when they have the comedy club going. Right,
they have a comedy show every week or so. Yeah. No, there's so much happening, and that's why I wanted to show it, to kind of go through it with you and get your feedback. Any other thoughts or reflections? Like, has it changed your attitude a bit now if someone is smoking cannabis, or thinking about if someone had an addiction problem or heavy-duty opiate use, would you recommend it? Or
I personally would have to do some more research for me to be able to, just for myself, before I could promote it. But it's interesting to see that the expanded awareness of what's possible. I find that really fascinating.
I love that. Yeah. No, you're so right. And we don't want to confuse CBD, which actually is not the hallucinogenic part of cannabis. CBD is the cannabinoid that your body needs so much that is good for inflammation, pain, anxiety, and stress, and you're taking it.
Yeah, I take
so
it.
You are taking CBD regularly.
It just wasn't the THC part of it that I was accustomed to. And HempWorks does have a couple of the full spectrum products in that one.
Well, the Delta 8 is, I don't know enough about it to talk about it, but it is in a new category, and it's actually from a hemp-derived plant. So it's confusing the whole cannabis world, is what I understand. And so that is because there's something like 1,000 different kinds of chemicals in the cannabis plant. So there's so many minerals and different elements that are in there for healing. So I use something called CBN, which is good for sleep and pain. You're using CBD for anxiety and sleep, but they all have different specific qualities. So anyway, not necessarily, I'm promoting not so much what you're taking, but that lifestyle of expanded awareness.
Yeah, and we have a mutual friend who microdoses all day long. That just to keep herself in that nice little state of peace. So I'm learning a lot about it. I'm learning how to be more understanding of my past ideas of what I thought it was, and being open-minded. And I am fearless and free.
She is fearless and free. She is definitely fearless and free. There was one last thing I wanted to say, but so I don't know if you know this, but especially the Silicon Valley geniuses and engineers are known for microdosing at work, and they are microdosing LSD and mushrooms and working, because they say that it enhances their creativity and it enhances their focus. So that which she came into the show thinking, well, this is going to ruin your life. You're going to end up a basket case. In 24 hours with being with me, you have a whole new paradigm. It's being used. People are microdosing it for many reasons, for healing from stress. Believe it or not, healing from anxiety, addiction recovery, a little bit, just like you had this morning, and you felt you had a different way of being for a few hours. And it didn't feel like you were high. Did you actually feel high or out of control or anything?
No, because we knew that we were going to be driving somewhere, but people can get high off it. So
yes, people.
It's kind of like alcohol. You still got to know when you've had enough.
That's right.
And so it was like having 4 ounces of wine or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Did it impair your driving?
Mm-mm.
I was in the car with her. Thank God it didn't. Okay. I love it. I'm so happy that you came on the show with us, that you shared your insights. I hope you learned some new things. I hope all of you guys learned new things. I'm very grateful that you've been with us today. Don't forget to join my Monday show, Miracle Mondays. I go live every Monday, 7 p.m. Pacific time on YouTube and on Facebook. And
what do you do that's different on that show?
Oh, well, we don't talk about cannabis, okay? We don't talk about any of the things we have just talked about today. But we do talk about how you can step into the miraculous, how you can change your attitude. A lot of people experience healing right on the show. Last time I did some trance channeling, or I'll read cards for about 3 or 4 people. But I will say this, that tribe is becoming delicious. It is. It's just becoming delicious. I've been doing it for several years, and I'm all about stepping into miraculous. My favorite thing to do. So that's what we do on Monday nights, okay, for everyone. Wednesdays, we go live for 420 Spiritual Living, and book a soul awakening session with me if you have a chance and you want to have your memory of who you are. And I will see you next time. Have a fantastic week. And thank you, Victoria, for being with us.